Effectively, with the data protection regulation, there are three really important things to remember. There's the 6 principles that we've spoken about, the conditions for processing data. Remember, you need a condition. And thirdly, data subjects' rights. I'm going to talk about 5 particular rights today, which are most likely to affect your organisation. First of all, the right of access. So subject access requests effectively enable me as a data subject to ask you for a copy of all of the information that you hold on me. Now this might include CCTV. If you were running CCTV for crime prevention purposes, I have a right to have a copy of that too. Any pictures that you may hold on me is also an identifier, so therefore is my personal information. This is going to be a challenge for a lot of organisations because, for example, there may be more than one version of me. You may have 2 data assets and I appear on both. Which of those is the most up-to-date version of me? This is why rationalising your data assets is going to be really important and making sure that you've got one accurate version of me when I request that information. So if I make a subject access request, you're going to have to supply that information to me within 1 month. You cannot refuse, and new under the GDPR, you cannot charge me. So it's going to have to be for free, it's going to have to be within 1 month, and you can't refuse. And incidentally, you're going to have to supply the information in what the GDPR calls a commonly used electronic format. My advice to you would be, speak to the data subject, find out the reason they're making the data subject access request, and give them the information in a format that they are happy with and that is convenient to them. So for example, although the GDPR says a commonly used electronic format, but they may require it in print, so why don't you ask them how they would like to receive it? We think that's good common sense advice. The other right I want to talk about is the right to be forgotten. So previously called the right of erasure, the right to be forgotten enables me to ask you to forget me. So all aspects of my personal information would need to be permanently erased. You can't archive me, you've got to completely erase information. Now in a previous video I spoke about legal obligation. If you've got a legal obligation to keep information on me, then you may not be able to forget me. So you're going to have to flag me as someone that's requested to be forgotten but cannot be forgotten because of a legal obligation. But if you haven't got a law to rely on, then you genuinely are going to have to delete every aspect of information about me. You'll need a policy for this, and also will need to train your staff in ensuring that all aspects, all echoes of me throughout your organisation are genuinely deleted. Another right is the right of rectification. This is actually a new right under the General Data Protection Regulation, and it enables me to request a copy of the information that you hold on me and for me to check that it's correct. If it isn't correct, you're legally obliged to put that information right. Actually, we think this is good housekeeping, and we think that the right of rectification is good news for organisations. After all, it will help us to keep information up to date. Another right which may be exercised by data subjects is the right of restriction. Now this is an interesting one in so much as it enables me as a data subject to ask you to restrict the processing of my information. So not forget me, but just stop processing my information whilst a question is answered. So some of those questions might be, I think the information that you've got on me is inaccurate and I've asked you to check whether it's right or not. There might be an allegation that your legitimate interest is not legitimate and I've asked you to check that, and perhaps I'm objecting to that. But any case, whatever happens, you'll have to find a way of restricting the processing of my information for a prescribed period of time. Now what's interesting is that period of time could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. We believe the most dangerous thing that could happen is the accidental processing of that person's information whilst it is being restricted. You need to find a very, very reliable way of ensuring that information is not processed during that particular period. And the last right that I want to talk about today is the right to object. So I as a data subject have the right to object, especially to marketing. So you'll be listening very carefully. This is really a complaint, in other words. Be listening very carefully to your data subjects to identify somebody who is exercising their right to object. You will be wise to listen carefully and to act upon somebody who is exercising this right, and to stop marketing information to them if required.